I get sentimental when you hold me tight. Just squeeze me. But baby, please don't tease me now. This story took place a few months ago, 2 days after New Year's. Kevin and I were both grounded the day before New Year's because my dad caught us smoking in the basement at 1 in the morning. Who the fuck were we hurting? Exactly. Anyway, we were grounded for New Year's, which kinda sucked, but we took our chances. What the fuck do you expect? My mom very graciously told us that we could be ungrounded on Saturday if we did some shit for her. New Year's was on a Thursday, I believe, so I was pretty happy about only being in the shithole for a couple days. So I clean up some shit for Mama, and Saturday comes around and I needed to do some ignorant shit. It'd been 3 days, I was getting angsty. So I made plans with two of my friends. To keep their identities safe, we'll call them Miles and John. Miles was my age, and John was a year behind us. But let me tell you, John takes his fucking chances. My parents went out to a movie or a dinner, or they hung out with some friends or something on this Saturday night. So no one was home, so I invited Miles and John into my home and we conversed for about a minute, and then we decided that we needed to get some reefer. We needed to get some reefer fast. But both of my guys were out of town, and it just so happens that they met their guy through me. So they didn't have anyone either. But I did have one friend who had some bud, Dario. Always coming in the clutch. We gotta get him on the show one of these days, boys. I will get him on here, don't worry. I promise. So his parents were not letting him out that night, and he wasn't even grounded. He just has shitty parents like that. So I hit him up and asked him if I could swing by and grab some ganja on credit. And he said, of course. But there's one problem. Both of his parents were home. Dario lives in a second floor apartment, so he would have to be nifty, which I tend to be. So Miles, John, and I all head toward Dario's house in Miles' car, and we parked at a corner store down the street from Dario so we don't draw too much attention. We weren't trying to get caught by his parents. So, the whole situation was a little too greasy for Miles, and he decided to go into this store and shop around. I always tell Miles that going against the grease will always get you burned, and he learned that lesson the hard way, and so did I, and so does everyone. So John and I walked down the street toward Dario's house, and we're now standing across the street from his home, and I'm on the phone with Dario. So he had about a half ounce of bud on him, and he acknowledged that I smoked him up quite a bit in the past, and I still do quite often. So he said we'd be square, and he put a quarter in a computer game box. And I'll never forget it, man. I'll never forget it. It was a Diablo 3 computer game box. So Dario goes into his bathroom with his skunky dunky Diablo 3 box, and I can see his parents watching the TV in the living room from outside. Dario opened the window and dropped the game box out his window, and John and I look at each other. Dario's parents know who I am. They'd recognize me if they saw me hop in their fence. They'd come out, get me, and call my parents. So I convinced young John, so nimble, convinced young John to do it. While he was crossing the street, I noticed there was an unusual amount of people walking around on that brisk Saturday night, and John must have looked quite fucky. But John doesn't give a fuck, and neither do I. We were just trying to get baked. So John hops this chain link fence and he grabbed the box and jumped back over. We now had our inebriant, and we were ready to embark on our mission to achieve stony euphoria and save the night from the evil grasp of sobriety. We got into Miles' car and waited for him to come out of the store. When he came out, we drove off. Now there's a nice trail in my town that nobody really uses other than Kevin and I, and some of my friends use it. There goes the phone. But fuck it. I had my bub with me. DeBrickashaw Garcia Jones was his name. We were gonna sit on this rock I always sit on when I toke, but the thing about this rock is there's a really steep hill to climb up to get to it, and it had just snowed the night before, so it was really icy. So we parked the car and we pulled ourselves up this hill by the trees, and the climb, it was pretty beneficial. I got my cardio in, what can I say? We finally got up to this fucking rock, and we smoked a few bub packs from this fucking Diablo 3 case, and all of a sudden the FaceTime sound starts to ring on my phone, and guess who it is? It's the fucking D-Man himself, Dario. So I pick it up, and this guy's freaking the fuck out, and I asked him, "Whoa, what's going on, man?" And right as I'm asking this, my phone starts to vibrate with messages. Dario sent me pictures of a bowl and a medicine bottle with a fat nug. And I'm like, okay, man, big deal. But then Dario, over FaceTime, says that he found this shit in his dad's coat pocket. The same dad that called us both losers and that we were going nowhere because we smoked weed. This night was getting interesting. I told him to snag it and bring it to his mom and rat out his dad. Then maybe they would let him come out, or he could just sneak out, who knows. But no, he wouldn't do it. The position Dario found himself in was one of both confusion and emotional distress. And I can't blame him. We came down from the hill and got in Miles' car and drove off. Our next destination was Wendy's. This is where I'll leave y'all today. Don't worry, man, part 2 is coming out tomorrow, and there will be Ritalin, and it will be greasy. It'll be greasy as fuck. I'm Fatty T. Go fuck a shoelace.